They say it's always a calm before the storm, which is why I chose this picture of Kikaru with their parents, because there has been a calm and the storm is brewing on the horizon. And I mean Kaiju No.8 has sent his generals in to do his bidding all across the land, and they are taking no prisoners. This is serious. They came to exterminate the humans, and that's exactly what they plan on doing. No one is being taken in alive. But luckily for us, we have our captains and we have a kaiju. Kaiju No.8, aka, as I always say, Kafaka. But I don't think it's going to be easy for our guys to win. And I'm going to cover everything in this video from chapter 69 to the most recent chapter, chapter 73. So if you haven't caught up, here's your chance now to catch up on everything that's been going down. Also, if you like what you see and you like what you hear, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button and even comment down in the comment section. Your feedback is always highly appreciated. Now jumping into Kaiju No.8, it's been about 3 months since the string of attacks by the Kaiju, which it was like 17 back-to-back attacks. And then all of a sudden, they just stopped and disappeared. And anybody with common sense or any awareness of the world, they're gonna be like, hey, something isn't right here. Like they were just here and there blowing up the city, doing all kinds of havoc and mayhem, and all of a sudden they just disappeared. And nobody has seen them, bro, for 46 days. That's a long time to be plotting and planning, you know. That kind of freaks people out. And his mother, she's one of those people that's aware. She's like, yeah, something isn't right about this. It's like a calm before the storm. And she's not lying, because the storm, it is coming. But her daughter, you know, kids, they have this thing about them where they always see the positive out of negative, which is good. And her daughter assures her that, hey, you don't have anything to worry about, Mom, because we have Mr. Kaiju. And if you don't know who Mr. Kaiju is, I advise you to read Kaiju No.8 because it's a good series and it's on point. But Kaiju No.8 is Kafaka, aka our man, aka our human kaiju somewhat fusion. Yeah, we'll call him a fusion. Due to the fact it wasn't his choice to become a kaiju, that was pretty much forced on him when that thing flew in the window and swallowed it. And if you read the first chapter, you know what I'm talking about. If not, go read Kaiju No.8. You'll see what I'm talking about. But meanwhile, Captain Narumi and Officer Shinomura, which is General Aizawa's daughter, they're training right now, and their training is so intense it had to be underground, and it's literally shaking the entire base. That's how intense their training is, and nobody's ever seen two numbers users like train with each other. So for the scientists, it's pretty nerve-wracking and scary, because they're like, if they're this strong training, imagine how they'll be when they're actually like really fighting. Like that could be scary to get caught up in that. And meanwhile, while this is going on, the 1st and 3rd Division, they're currently at the practice ground training on their artillery and accuracy, which we don't really get to see a lot of that. We just get to see a panel of them shooting, the lieutenant yelling, and these giant-ass cannons. And, you know, if you think about it, you really do need to practice on your accuracy when you're fighting kaiju, because if you miss the important one or the leader of the gang, aka the alpha, that could get everyone killed. So, I mean, I guess that was a nice little panel, but we didn't get to really see a whole lot of that, because then we quickly jumped to Vice Captain Soshiro Hoshina training Kafaka. Now, their training is getting pretty intense, and it's good to see that these two are building a bond, because they're going to be, you know, back-to-back in combat like they were versus Kaiju No.9 when they had to fight him when he absorbed General Aizawa. Now, during their training, Soshiro, he notices that Kafaka is getting better. He's mastering his movements, and his reaction time, that was a tongue twister, is getting better. But Kafaka, he lands a pretty good hit on Soshina, and he's not really too happy about that, because in his mind, he doesn't take L's. Even if it's just sparring or training, he does not take L's. So in retaliation of Kafaka being proud of his hit, Vice Captain Soshiro, he tries to knock him off the roof, which I'm like, damn, bro, it is not that serious. It's just a training regimen. But it would have been kind of funny to see him knock him off the roof and see Kafaka's reaction. And during their training, Kafaka's like, you know, one day I'm going to be better than you. Like, eventually, I'm going to best you in a sparring contest or a sparring match, however you want to say it. However, after their match is done, Kafaka decides to go to the rooftop, and I like how Matsumoto drew this very detailed, and it almost brings you into the chapter of the picture, as if you're right there with Kafaka enjoying the scenery of how beautiful it really is. But however, when Kafaka gets to the rooftop, he happens to know that Mina is sitting there. And if you don't know who Mina is, read Kaiju No.8. She's kind of like his sister, but not his sister. They grew up together. He looks out for her pretty much. But he notices that she's sitting there, and he casually tries to avoid her, which goes very wrong, because remember, she's a captain. She can hear him. So while he's trying to avoid her, she hears him, and she's like, yo, where you going? Like, don't be shy. Come have a seat. And he's kind of freaked out about it, because he's like, yo, This isn't the little Mina I grew up with. She's a captain now. Like, she leads people. She's an officer. Like, she outranks me by leagues. So he kind of tries to avoid her, but she assures him, like, yo, it's cool. It's just me and you up here. Let's just sit back, relax, and enjoy the peace and tranquility of, you know, not having to fight kaiju and take it all in, because it's like a calm before the storm, really. And she knows that, you know, nobody's cat's getting broken, nobody's TV's getting stolen or anything like that, nobody's getting killed. People are just living, playing, and enjoying life. And, you know, Kafaka, he's sitting there taking it in, and she kind of brings him back to when they were kids, and she tells him how even when they were kids, he was always the leader. He would always look out for her. And it's funny because he would literally run from their school to the next school if something happened, just to make sure she was safe. And that's how much he's always cared and looked out for Mina. Even adding in the point that, well, she was the vice captain of the Kafaka Corps. And she says it was highly embarrassing, but she always felt that if Kafaka showed up, that in a strange way, he would take care of the kaiju, and it always alleviated her stress. And Kafaka, not knowing this, he's pretty shocked, because he's like, whoa, I never knew that you felt like that. That's good to know. And she says, you haven't changed at all since they were kids. And if you read the story, you know, Kafaka, he really hasn't. The only thing that really changes, he got older, of course, like we all do. But at the same time, he still has that smile, and he gives you that sense of safety, you know, that everything's going to be okay. Kind of reminds you of Goku a little bit. You know, whenever Goku shows up in the original Z run, they always felt, oh, it would be I, even though now it's the Goku and Vegeta show. But that's neither here nor there. But she lets us know that even though times have changed, they still have a promise that they've kept, and that she knows about what Captain Hoshina told her, which was Kafaka's decision to keep transforming, even though he knows that eventually he might permanently become a kaiju and it can't be undone. You know, he kind of sits there, he dwells on that fact that might happen, but at the same time, they're going to keep a promise. And she lets, you know, Kafaka know, I don't have to hide behind you anymore. I'm stronger now, and you don't have to bear the weight alone. And he thinks to himself, you know, he believes in her, but at the same time, after fighting Kaiju No. 9, he's like, I really don't know, because he felt defenses. Like, if you go back and look at chapter 53, I want to say, when they were fighting Kaiju No. 9, which was him and Vice Captain Hoshino, man, he was putting the work on him. It was like they were fighting perfect cell. He outclassed him. Better yet, he's pretty much like their Broly in the Kaiju-verse. Like, if you want to know how that fight went, just the Gogeta versus Broly fight. That's all you need to know. Especially when he went Super Saiyan Blue. That's pretty much how that fight between Kaiju No. 9, Kafaka, and Vice Captain Hoshino went. Like, they were Broly, and Kaiju No. 9 was Gogeta. It was a massacre after that. It wasn't really even fighting no more. It was pretty much self-defense, because they couldn't even stop him. He is a Super Daikaiju now. But aside from that, somewhere within the city, in the Shibuya Ward District, I want to say. Correction, at the time of this video, I said the wrong word. It's actually the Shingoku Ward. So let's continue back with the story. There's a kaiju who, I wonder if we're going to get answers on this, who looks exactly like Kikuru. And I mean, exactly like a doppelganger. Just a Kikuru with black hair instead of the blonde and green eyes. So this kaiju's masquerading around as her, and we don't know if Kaiju No. 9 happened to get a sample of Kikuru's DNA and was able to clone her phenotype into this kaiju. That's a mystery we still don't have answers to. But these two unsuspecting guys, they see this kaiju thinking it's a she, and they're like, hey, you want to come hang out with us and some friends? And the kaiju's like, yeah, sure thing. I was about to call some friends of mine anyways. And when we saw this panel, I was like, yeah, this is about to go left real quick. But I didn't know it was going to go this far left.
Prepare for trouble!
Make it double!
This kaiju, within 1/4 of a second, takes out everyone within the vicinity. I mean, you see limbs falling off. People are walking with now holes in their chest, literally. People are getting hit across the street. It's a massacre, man. It's a bloodbath. And we've never seen a massacre on this scale in Kaiju No. 8. And maybe in the future, they might get more gruesome with the panels. But dang, I feel so bad for everybody, because those two guys especially were just like, oh, hey, you want to go out? And the kaiju was like, yeah, we're going to go out, all right. And you're going to go on a permanent dirt nap. And that's exactly how that went down. And then it starts screeching, I'm guessing, to alarm the other kaiju. We don't know. But we jump to the next chapter, it gets even more wicked. As we jump into chapter 70, we start off with Toku getting ready to walk his daughter down the aisle. Now, it's her big day, and as a father, I know he's extremely nervous. And as we can tell on his face, he is hella nervous. And he's so nervous that he doesn't even want to walk her down the aisle. It takes one of his coworkers to tell him, hey, you've raised her by yourself all this time in the kaiju business. The best thing you can do is give her a proper send-off. And then she comes out and greets him, And she just looks at him, we're like, okay. And she stomps on his foot. Like, that was so left field. She tells him, you're acting more nervous than me. Get your shit together. And it has a big ass, label of her head that says former delinquent, which I'm pretty sure he had his hands full with her, raising her in this whole time. And I will say this, everyone in Kaiju No.8, they age extremely well. Like, I didn't even know he had a daughter, let alone that he was that old in years. Like, I wonder how old he is really. But nonetheless, while he's getting ready to walk her down the aisle, she tells him thank you for everything. And that was really a heart-touching moment because it's like, yeah, that's something as a father that you want to do. You want to raise a young, beautiful woman to the point where she is not getting married and you're sending her off to someone that you presume or have already checked out that is going to be a good husband to her. And if you watch anime, you know whenever there's a good scene, a heartwarming theme, and there's a nice, calm feeling, something is going to go extremely left. And I knew once we saw the reception and everything was nice and cozy, I knew when I saw that window in the frame, I knew something was going to happen. Like, I was like, yeah, this is a little too peaceful. Like, this is too good to be going on. And that's exactly what happens. This kaiju has appeared in front of the wedding reception and is about to crash the entire party unexpectedly. And even Toku is lost because nobody saw this coming. And the next thing you know, the kaiju crisis line, they're going off the chart. Kaiju has started to appear everywhere, like all over Japan, and everyone's trying to figure out what the hell is going on. It's mayhem out there, like from the Sagetsu ward, the Choji ward, and the Manami ward. There are kaiju everywhere. And these aren't like the 150 feet tall kaiju. These are the 250, 300 plus big boy kaiju. The ones that destroy cities by themselves. They don't need a whole squad. And that's the scary part. And it's like, is Kaiju number 9 really going this far to decimate all the humans that he's sending out the elites first? Like, he's not even playing around with the small fries anymore. He's sending out elites. And then we jump back to the marriage scene. And man, the whole wedding reception is in complete disarray. Not only did the kaiju just trash the entire scene and mess up everything, he grabbed Toku's daughter. Now, this is when I knew it was about to get dark and extremely bad, because Toku, in desperation, he tries to distract the kaiju who's already broken his daughter's legs, as you can see the pain of agony that she's in, by cutting his arm because kaiju apparently attracted to blood. But that doesn't work. The kaiju kind of just looks at him and he's like, yo, don't even worry about it, bro. I'm gonna get to you in a second. He looks at her, bro, picks her up, and he eats her. And I'm like, yo, he really just did that. And I'm thinking, bro, not only did this man just watch his daughter get ate, it happened on her wedding day. And a crazy plot twist, Narumi arrives just in time, and he destroys this kaiju. And I mean, he does it in such style. This is the reason why he's known as the samurai of the kaiju hunters. He dismantled this kaiju easily while saving Toku's daughter at the same time, in which I'm still pretty sure her legs are broke, but she's unconscious and she's safe. Thanks to Narumi's quick thinking and showing up on the last minute being dramatic, because if you don't know about General Narumi, that's the kind of person he is. Conceited, and he's into dramatic effects, like pretty much like Sonic. He likes to do the whole, oh, I'm the hero that gets to at the last minute kind of thing, which I don't understand why they like that, but that's just who they are. Later, he hits Ashiro up on the mic, which is Mina. He asks her, hey, I'm pretty sure you have your area under control, right? And she pretty much tells him, like, that's a dumbass question. Of course I do. Just worry about your area. And, he kind of just plays it off like, okay, that's good to hear from you. Throws his hair back like he does, the cool, laid-back kind of this mysterious persona thing that he does, which I don't know if that's just him, but hey, Narumi, do your thing. Mr. Conceited, that's his new name. But aside from that, we get this panel that Naoya Matsumoto drew beautifully with Narumi and Mina together with the other captains or officers, and it is nicely drawn. My compliments to the artist, because this panel fits so perfectly. I kind of want this, no, I do want this as a poster, because it just gives you chills, But now everything is set to motion. This is now officially the war arc. There is no more training. There is no more practice. This is it. You either win or you die. And since Kaiju number 9 is playing in motion, we're going to see how this pans out. But I got to end the video here, because if I don't, it'll be too long. So stay tuned for part 2. Hit that like button, subscribe, and leave a comment down in the comment section, because as always, your feedback is highly appreciated. And with that being said, I'll catch you in the next chapter of Kaiju number 8.